Hi, this is Cheryl from Majestic Wire Artworks. This is my very first video, and I thought I would do an introduction and a test run with a mini video of teaching how to do the imitation basket weave. I believe this is my own weave, but I'm sure somebody else has done it as well. Okay, so let's start. So the reason it's called the imitation basket weave is because it kind of looks like a basket weave at the front, but on the back it looks totally different. And the goal of this is, I've had so many people ask me how I keep my weaving neat, and so I just wanted to share with you a few of the things that I personally do that others may not, to improve the quality of your weave. Okay, so here we go. This is how we're going to start. Now, because we're just doing a practice run here, I've only got 4 small pieces of 20 gauge copper, and these will be called, as I refer to them, the core wires. And for a weaving wire, I have a 28 gauge. Some people use a 30 gauge, some people use a 26 gauge. What I find is it's easier to work with a 28 gauge. 30 gauge breaks on me most of the time, and 26 gauge, my hand gets really tired. So I have noticed that I weave differently than everybody else that I have seen or a video of doing. So I'm going to share with you how I do it. I don't know if it helps my technique or not. So I am going to introduce each piece one at a time with the weave wire, and I'm taking one wire and I am leaving a tail of the weave wire. It's hard for me to see what I'm doing with this. Okay, weave wire, and I wrap it around once. Oh. I have to get used to this. Is so different. Okay, so I'm wrapping it around once, and then I'm pushing with my nails. See, I can't see what I'm doing. I'm using the camera to see what I'm doing, so this is very different for me. And I tighten it up, and what I do differently than other people is they start at the bottom. I'm starting at the top, and I'm going to introduce each wire and lasso it around the wire. There. So now it's got both wires there. So I went over, around, and up between the 2 wires. You could see that. I promise you, I'm going to get better at this. This is just my first time. And now I'm introducing the second wire. So I'm going down and between the bottom 2 wires and pulling it tight like that. And the last wire. And I'm doing the exact same thing. And there I have all 4 wires lassoed together. Okay, now this is something that I do that I've never seen anybody else do as well, is when I first start my wire, or actually when I do all the weaving, I do it in different lengths so that later on, when your wires move around on you, by the different lengths of the wire, you can see which one was your first wire. So the shortest wire is number 1, the second longest is number 2, 3, and 4. So that just helps me keep track of my wires later on when I'm weaving. So with this weave, after we've got them all lassoed in, we're going to take it fully up around the bottom, and we're going to go around the top wire like this. Whoop. There we go. And I push it with my nail. And then I'm going back up and around, and now I'm wrapping around. And getting focus there. The 2 wires. And I tug it up nice and tight. And up and around the next 2. Can you see where I've come up between the top 2 wires? And now I'm going to go down between the bottom 2 wires. And now I went up between the middle 2 wires, and now I'm going to go down around the bottom wire, and again up between the bottom 2 wires. Okay, so now we have done the pattern. I call it a pattern once. So the first part was just the lassoing, which it looks, with this pattern, it looks exactly like it. I do it with other patterns too. I feel that it doesn't really matter if it matches as long as it's holding the wires together for you. Okay, now I'm going to go totally under all 4 wires again and repeat the pattern. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay, so 2 patterns are complete. And now I always cinch them up at the beginning for sure, every single pattern. And because I find when you get too many in a row and they're moving apart, it just doesn't cinch up very nice anymore. And that's when things go awry. Okay, so this is where I really use my nails a lot. But if you don't have nails and you don't want to use nails, you could use your chain nose plier and push it like this. And I find once you have a lot of weaving and it gets harder and harder to do, that's where I use the pliers instead of my nails. Okay, so let's got a good start there. And the more you do, the more stable the wires are and it's easier to hang on to. Just the beginning where it gets awkward. Make sure it's nice and square and cinched up. So when I do my weaving, it takes me longer than other people doing their weaving just because I'm always cinching it up, making it neat, and I find it's worth it because my pieces look better for it. There. And I hope that I've helped someone out with this video. And my niece, my granddaughter and I are going to set this up on YouTube. And hopefully it all works out. Bye for now.